Hello and welcome to this next episode in the What's Up Yggdrasil series of podcasts. My name is Stuart McCarthy, I'm Director of New Media at Square in the Air, and today we're going to be talking about the YG Masters programme, its structure and evolution, and also hearing from some of the studios and their experiences of the programme. From Yggdrasil today, we're joined by Fredrik Elmqvist, who's the CEO and founder of Yggdrasil, of course many of you will know, Bjorn Krantz, who's Chief of Global Marketing Operations, and Stuart McCarthy, who's Head of Partner Programmes. Our two external contributors are Marcus Honey, who's the Managing Director of Avatar UX, and Mitri Weiberg, who's Executive Producer at Peter & Sons. Gents, thanks for joining us. I'd be grateful if you could just each take 30 seconds or so to introduce yourselves and your relevance to this conversation about YG Masters. Fred, perhaps we can start with you, if that's all right.
All right. Hi, I'm Fred. I am the founder and CEO of Yggdrasil, and I'm initiative taker for this collaboration with these gents here. I've known some of these guys for a very, very long time. Worked with them for a very long time, so I'm very happy to be here. It's going to be a fun setup.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Bjorn Krantz. I'm the Chief of Global Market Operations at Yggdrasil. So we are responsible for driving sustainable long-term revenue growth through a well-defined customer and market operations strategy. Our unit have a 360 view on the revenue ecosystem and how we can impact that revenue ecosystem in a positive and sustainable way.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm Stuart McCarthy. I'm Head of Partner Programs here at Yggdrasil. I've been in the business for 3 years now, primarily driving the YG Masters program from day one.
Hi, my name is Marcus. I'm Managing Director for Avatar UX. We are a startup game studio. I don't know how long we can keep calling ourselves a startup. I think we'll keep milking it for a while. We've been part of the Yggdrasil Masters program for the last 18 months. Most of our games are recognised for the Pop Wins mechanic feature, which has really put us on the map, especially with Cherry Pop.
Hi there, my name is Mitri. I'm executive producer at Peter & Sons. It's a small startup. I think we're 10 people today. And we're driving production of our games. That's what I'm overseeing and helping to push forward.
Thanks, gents, for that. Stuart, if we could turn to you, if that's all right. You and I first met about a week after you joined Yggdrasil in the Stockholm office, and I remember you were hobbling around with a broken foot, having made the journey over from the UK, not to dwell on that. But since that moment, what's been the journey for the YG Masters program from the outset to where we are now?
Sure. So to give you kind of the kickoff point, which is more or less exactly 3 years ago to the day, I joined the organisation. Fred had reached out to me with a kind of a vision about what he wanted to achieve. He sort of reached out. I've been previously working for another company in aggregation, sort of 4 or 5 years in the business, and kind of understood the mechanics of how aggregation was working and what we thought we could do better. And Fred reached out and said, I have this idea about driving sort of greater sort of relevance for Yggdrasil, expanding our portfolio out, looking at how we can bring on new flavors of game content onto the Yggdrasil platform. And that was really kind of the inception. So I came on board with a brief to bring on board a handful of partners, looking to bring out a small number of games to augment the Yggdrasil portfolio. And that really was kind of the kickoff position when we came in. We started with this idea that we were going to be building games content, building game engines on our side, working with a small number of studios, delivering everybody to market with our boost tools that Yggdrasil had been building for 3 or 4 years by that point. And that was kind of a really compelling sort of vision about how to expand the Yggdrasil portfolio that way. And that was the kickoff point.
Fred, if we could turn to you now, I'm really interested in the plan that you set out for YG Masters at the beginning, the brief you gave to Stuart, if you like, and where we are now. Have we delivered on your vision, on your plan for it?
Yeah, no. I think that we saw where things were going. We saw that there was a lot of creativity coming from all sorts of angles, and we knew that there was an appetite for a lot of content, and we knew that it was going to be very hard to increase the production and scale that in that way of be able to facilitate that kind of a demand in the market. And we've also seen we also seen that there was there was a need for this. We said, you know what, we have a nimble technology. We can build something here that's more scalable and more competitive. A bit like we started YGG, which I talked in the previous podcast. We said we can have the same approach here in the aggregation part. And when I approached Stuart, I said, listen, we want to do it slightly differently from what is available, what's done out there. So we said, let's just sit down and say, what can be done differently? What will bring a lot of value for the entire chain? What will bring value for the studios? What will bring value for our customers, the operators? And I think that was the go-to-market starting point. And we started to involve our engineers and so forth as well, and our operations to see, can we do something here? And we realized pretty quickly that, yeah, we can start in this point, and we take that to the first phase, which was Stuart's talking about, basically curating the roadmap, handpicking studios to work with, and then we took a lot of the heavy lifting on our side, and we made sure there was no heavy lifting of the opera side, and we kind of shared the burden with the studios. But then as we went along, we realized to take this to the next level, we need to do some further innovation in technology and kind of reshape the program a little bit, and to bring more value and more intellectual property into all of that. And this is what we did. And I think we're taking the YG Master from the initial concept to you know the steps leading up to where we are today. It's been very, very efficient. I think based on technology, based on the right people, like Stuart, very, very good in the strategy, and has all the contacts, of course, as well. But I think the strategy and the enablement has been the early days of success. And then, of course, we get my old friend and colleague Bjorn in. Probably going to ask him something very briefly here. Coming in to also to make sure we continue on the strategizing, but also on the execution of this, because here we found a very strong position in this market. We feel it, we hear it from business partners. We're walking the talk, and we're doing what people expect. And now we can scale this, and so I'm very, very happy with the progress of this partnership with the partners and with the program. And I'm also very excited about what we're going to do going forward with this, because it doesn't stop here. We have a lot of things ahead of us.
Stuart, if we can come back to you, something I'm really interested in is how a big company like Yggdrasil, a big brand, a big well-known developer, how you set up those relationships with smaller studios. How do you attract them? How do they know they're not going to get swallowed up by this big machine? So how have you managed that, and how have you built those relationships?
Well, I think this is kind of the sort of key point about Masters is, and Fred touched on it there regarding the heavy lifting side of things. You know, we have really devised the program in a way that it makes it incredibly attractive for partners to join, because it just allows them to focus on building games. You know, we're taking care of all of the other elements around sort of certification and market entry, distribution, commercial aspects, all these kind of things. And that, when you put that together with the level of distribution we've got, it is an extremely attractive package for a partner to come on board, because, you know, it does absolutely allow them to kind of knuckle down and just deliver the thing that they got into gaming in the first place to do, which is to build great games. That's the point. And I think, you know, as more and more partners join, and, you know, you start to see those Masters games out there and being very, very successful, it makes it very, very easy to go out and talk to people about this now. And I think, you know, early days it was genuinely persuading people that this was the right thing to do, that coming and working with Yggdrasil was going to be beneficial to them, and the program was robust and set up in a good way. And I think now it's very, very straightforward. We're getting engagement with a lot of partners coming out and reaching out to us. Obviously, pandemic times are quite different, so there isn't the ability to go and sort of sit down with people at trade shows and say hi to everybody there. But we're getting contact all of the time now, literally.
You touched on it then, persuading people to become partners, to join the program. And I'm interested in that and dig a little bit deeper if that's all right. There are other studio programs around. They're not the same as YG Masters, but there are good programs around from companies that have been around a long time. When I spoke to Fred one-on-one in an earlier podcast, we talked a lot about energy and passion and ambition. And I wonder how you transmit some of those values in building partnerships for the YG Masters program and attracting people in.
I think intrinsically people get it, that Yggdrasil is an extremely passionate company about what we do. And I think you look at the individuals around the table, certainly in the senior management team within Yggdrasil, we are all like honest and good guys. I think we've all got great contacts out there in the market. We have a good reputation as a bunch of people that you can come in and work with. And that is sort of being borne out by Masters, I believe.
I wonder if you could just outline what some of the key opportunities and challenges are for smaller studios these days, and how the Masters program might help them meet them.
Well, I think if you were to look at the challenges they've got, I mean, essentially what you're trying to do is get out there and get noticed in the market and get your games out and supported. And if you look at the way platforms are structured or alternative programs are structured, you really have very little opportunity to get cut through at the moment. Which is kind of the reason we set up the program as we did. The way that partners are working with us is, essentially they build directly onto our platform, and they can come to market under our licenses and essentially wherever Yggdrasil exists. If I were a studio setting out in the world now, I would look at the challenges faced about, okay, so where do I need to get my licenses? Where do I need to put equipment? How do I deal with the multiple challenges of, regulated markets, for example? I think, these are kind of the, on top of actually getting your games in front of customers, these are the sort of the heavy lifting pieces that are really difficult to crack. So I think that's what we do here at Masters. We enable that to happen. We enable these partners to come to market, to essentially build off the back of the work that we have done. And then it really then becomes about quality of game, and quality about the mechanics, quality about the ideas that you can bring forward. Now that you've got yourself into a shop window, it really becomes about, how good are you? How good are the games that you can bring to market? Because now you have this level playing field to come and work with.
Yeah, I need to step in there and just say something to back that up for Stuart, because what we see now, we have a couple of partners here in the call today, and we see now that the content that comes from third parties, that we call them, it sounds a bit downgrading, but the independent studios, I think it's a better word. Top grade stuff coming out. And if you're now a creative team that works, and you're very skilled in crafting slot machines or any type of other different type of content, going forward, you feel like, hey, there's a positive challenge here. We can take our team and we can publish this, make a publishing deal together with YGG. So I think we're seeing the beginning of the new era of some kind of a decentralized development and focus on the creativity. So I think it's going to be very good for innovation. It's going to be good for play experience. Going to see a lot of new things going forward. So I'm very excited in becoming the enabler here and enabling creativity. I think that ultimately what we're doing. And serving, of course, in the end, serving the industry and the players with a very interesting new user experience. So this is the consequences of what we're doing.
And I think enabler is the right word there, absolutely. I'm mindful that Marcus and Mitri are on the call and we're in danger of speaking for them. So rather than Yggdrasil talk about how great our program is, let's have some of our partners. Gents, if I can come to you and just ask you what your experiences of the program are when you signed up and what you're gaining from it.
Well, from my point of view, or our point of view, I think we believe we were the second one to join, or second one to join the party, if you like. It's for a lot of the reasons that Stuart already mentioned, as well as Fred as well. But there is, on top of that, also it does help that we knew the individuals involved. There was a relationship there was already. And if I look at the guys on the screen here, I've probably got nearly 30 years of relationships between all together, added together, which definitely helps. We've seen each other through different solutions and situations and different growths, and we actually watch them grow as well into what we're seeing now. But from a studio point of view, I've got to be able to take these kind of relationships out of it, or the emotion out of the relationship, and then be honest to the investors that we have in our companies, and then wanting them to make sure we go to the right partners, because we know we've got good games, and that's what we want to focus on. So having a program like the Masters with the mechanics and the structure they had in place is exactly what Stuart said. We don't need to worry about licensing. We don't need to worry about distribution. And this kind of thing is a huge cost to us. So especially as a new studio, we started with 2 or 3 people, or one creative director originally when I first joined, and then the team coming in through consultants, and now we have our own teams as well. And coming out the other end now, if I can see the kind of revenues we were generating this time last year compared to what we're doing now, it's chalk and cheese. All of a sudden we people are noticing us, and it's given us an opportunity also, although it's great coming through Yggdrasil, it's also now, because of that exposure we've had, they're starting to recognize us as an individual studio. And obviously the game performance and the various mechanics we decide to use, the graphics and the UX experience is a big part of putting us on the map, and the results need to speak for themselves or need to make their own identity. But again, without that initial push, that initial support that came with this program, and again, as I said before, the individual, it does help knowing the individuals, because they know you as well. So they understand. You can have a frank conversation with any of these individuals here, and it doesn't really matter that I think when you've got 1 or 30 or more people in the studio, that a lot of them you're still feeling you're getting the same level, not level of service that's too impersonal. It's the same interest in your games. They're quite happy to say, listen, and others from the team as well, listen, this looks good in something I've seen, but it's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. Or so it's all about feedback, and feedback is wherever we can get it from as well. But I think, to summarize, the fact that the distribution is there, the licensing is there, that takes a huge weight over the smaller studios, or any studio starting up, because then they can really concentrate on what they wanted to do at the beginning and make kick-ass games.
I'm glad you mentioned the other studios, because I want to come to Peter and Sons now and to Mitri. Mitri, you've heard a lot of talk about the history and ambition and plans, structure behind the YG Masters program, and from Avatar UX and Marcus, someone who's been in almost from the beginning. As a studio that's joined much more recently, I wonder what your experiences of the program so far are.
Well, our experience so far has been very, very positive. We're super happy because we're a young studio. We joined the program, I think it was 5 months ago, right, in October. And since then, we released our first game, John and Legendarian, just a couple of weeks ago. And the first results were, wow, they weren't just talking shit here. The results are showing now. And that was kind of a breather, because the studio is pretty small. It's a startup. We've spent a lot of time trying to build up a brand. We've invested, I think everybody in the team has invested a lot of time, and now finally seeing the games coming out live and on a broad kind of distribution network on almost like 50 to 60% of the operators out there, etc. That's fantastic, actually. But I'm gonna just tackle this from another point of view. It's a little bit more technical, but for us, it wasn't so much the personal relationships, because we're very asocial. So everything is online nowadays. Everything is video conferences and so on. For us, it was the technical approach. So we do have our own game engine, and the fact that you could integrate that engine into an existing platform is established, that is already integrated into a broad network of operators, that made a huge difference. It's like you don't have small studios today that are pitching directly to operators trying to integrate their platform, right? Because it's such a huge investment to do that. We've seen that the last years. You had studios like Push Gaming coming out as a small studio, then building their own platform, now selling it in. But now I think there must be a 60 people operation out there now. So this was a big difference. The other was that, everything was very well documented from the beginning. So when we joined the program, started downloading and all the integration documentation, there is so much to read. It's a bit overwhelming.
Sorry about that.
No, so very well documented, very easy to get onto it, and I think we had a playable in a few weeks there. And the most, from our experience, probably the most painful is just the last stages when you go into QA. That's a little bit more of a painful process, but otherwise, I love this.
Great.
Great.
Fred, if I can come back to you.
Yeah.
We've had 10 or 15 minutes or so there talking about the history of the program, its strengths, its mission statement and goals at the outset, what it's delivered now, and from some very happy partners. It must feel pretty good hearing all that back.
Well, I feel super good. First of all, I mean, you get the spectre here. I feel so good because first we have the relationships that we built over years in this industry, right? Which amazing is coming to fruit here, making things work. And then the decisions that when you strategize, because this is what just amazes me as well. When me and some from the technical team and also Stuart, we've been strategizing around exactly how are the interfaces going to be between the studios and us. Where are we going to, talked about this all with the heavy lifting and the bringing value to everyone. And that was exactly it. He said, it can't be a relation where we are forcing a GDK or have to rebuild the game server. It needs to be. This was the secret sauce, basically. It needs to be, now it's out, so now we can mention it here, right? It needs to be the fact that they can use their own game engine, so we don't have to be a bottleneck and redefining your GDKs. They need to use our RNG still, and we need to be taking care of certification, which needs to be, there's certain elements in there that they need to follow, which is then the GATI, which I know we're going to talk about later. And we knew that if we nail this, we can get a scalable and very attractive model for independent studios. And it just feels so great that what we believed was going to work is actually working. And as I said, I think this is just the beginning. There are going to be more independent studios like Peter and Sons, like Avatar UX, and like the other one we have on board. It's just going to come out of nowhere. A bunch of creative people with a lot of talent. They know how to create slot games, casino games, or potentially even other games. I just feel so good to be able to enable that technology, enable that creativity. And it feels awesome. I think it feels awesome. And to hear this feels even better.
Thank you. What a very positive note to end on. I just want to thank you all for your time. Thanks, Fred, Mitri, Marcus, Bjorn, and Stuart. It's good to chat to you all. Have a great day and see you again soon.
Thanks, Stuart. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.